Hey, what's up? John Slanmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I want to do a video talking about how to find the truth, how to find out what is true, how to discern what is true from what is not true. And this is sort of inspired by the kind of debates that I get on some of the masculine versus feminine videos that I do. I did this one on masculine and feminine and why it matters. I think a lot of people that commented on this didn't actually watch the whole video, so yeah, whatever. It's sort of hard to form an opinion when you haven't actually, when you don't have the context to form an opinion on, which is sort of what I'm going to talk about. So I think there's a lot of people that, some of the stuff, okay, now let me put this out here, okay? You don't have to agree with everything I say on this channel, but it is my fucking channel, and I will say what the fuck I want. I don't need to be qualified. I don't need your permission to do it, and I don't even need your congratulations or your applaud. I'm doing this whether you like it or not, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say whether you like it or not. Now, hopefully there's some wisdom that you can gain from what I'm saying. Hopefully there's some wisdom that I can gain from what I'm saying as I learn and progress. And hopefully I contradict myself as I grow and progress as a human being. Because if we're not changing and we're not growing, we're dying, okay? So with that said, I'm not expecting 100% compliance. I don't want robots. I'm not expecting 100% compliance. But I'm not just talking out of my ass most of the time, okay? So here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want to say about this is that a lot of what I'm telling you, a lot of what I'm coming up with, if you're challenged, in what anyone says, right? It's not just me, but if you're challenged by what people say, and especially again, like I said, there's a lot of you that are just not going to accept the masculine femininity differences, okay? And what I would say to you, or to anything that you're like very stuck in your way on, is that you should look around, okay, and observe what happens in the actual real world, because that is where you're going to find the truth, especially in philosophical truths, right? The nature of things, right? There's a lot of guys, right, that email me all the time, I know, and they're in denial of the nice guy problem, right? I did a video on being a nice guy, and they believe honestly, right? And they're firmly set on this. There's nothing that's going to change their mind. They believe that being just a sappy, nice guy, being overly nice and pleasing to women is the right thing to do, and they deserve to get the girl because they're such a nice guy and they're not an asshole. Again, not saying to be an asshole. Watch the video if you're confused on that, what I'm talking about. But in general, right, that just doesn't hold true, right? If you look around, okay, and you might come to sort of wrong conclusions looking around, but it's going to be definitely opposite of that, right? Just a simple observation, A lot of times when I'm arguing with people about this, I just say, look, just go down the street, just go to a nightclub, and just go look at go look and see the girls that you want to be with, the girls that you find attractive, and see what kind of guys that they are finding, that they're around, that they're finding attractive. What are those kind of guys like? Are they really pleaser, nice, chivalrous guys, or do they tend to be more on the asshole side, right? Just look, just observe. I'm trying to make the world into the image that I want it to be, but I'm just saying, look around and see if being a pussy is going to get you pussy. It's not, okay? It's just not, because you can see this with your eyes, okay? I don't mean, it doesn't just apply to that, but I'm using that as an example just because it's one of those things that's so baked into people's psyche. They're so set in their way to believe this belief, even though the evidence, and when I say evidence, I don't mean some bullshit evidence, scientific paper that says this are studies, bullshit. Don't quote me books and scientific studies that are full of bullshit, because they're contradicting each other all the time. No. Let's look at the evidence that we can totally trust, which is our observations, right? When I talk about diet stuff, I'm talking about shit that I tried, that I trained people on, that I've coached people on, that worked, that had the results. I'm looking at the papers, yeah, to get ideas, but I don't believe shit until I tested it out, until I've seen it, right? Yeah, I can hold some loose beliefs about things that I've read that I generally hold to be true. I read history books and I generally think that the history is somewhat close to that. I'll use the dates and stuff. I don't have to verify that with my eyes, okay? But the things like this, where you can observe it, why the fuck don't you observe it? Why don't you see, right? If you look out there and you see, and you will see this. You'll see what I'm saying. Like, again, if you're holding on to that nice guy hope, go and look. And some of you say, oh, well, you know, it worked for me. I got my girlfriend or my wife or whatever. Yeah, but do you feel like I would say, what is the type? Do you want to be like the second choice? Do you want to be like the kind of, okay, this logically makes sense, or do you want to be like igniting the passion type of guy like that, or when we're like, yeah, like do you want? And if you look at that, if you observe that, and you say, well, what kind of books, what kind of television stars, what kind of, right, and how do these people act, and what is the psychology there, you're going to observe and you're going to see what women actually want for you guys out there. Same thing again, I would say, I don't mean to beat a dead horse with the masculine and femininity, but I believe this is an important point, that there's a lot of people that are in denial. They want to just say, everyone's equal, everyone's exactly the same. And, you know, that sounds like a pretty good theory, like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, the whole masculine and feminine, men and women, that the difference is it's only just between your legs, and it's society. It's society constructs. We're forcing girls to play with dolls, we're forcing boys to play with trucks and guns, and that's what makes them different, but this is bullshit. Well, observe. Go and look. Go and look at nature if you must, and see that there is clearly a distinction between masculine and femininity just in the natural world, that there's this yin and yang, right? And if that's too mystic for you, just observe people. Just observe what do women like? What do women find attractive? What do they desire? What gets them motivated in general versus men in general, right? And when I say men and women and use masculine and femininity, whether you agree sexual preferences or not, it doesn't matter. There's masculine and feminine essence. So maybe if you were a woman and you had a masculine and you had a woman partner, fine. That's you know, I don't have to agree with it, but it's there is that, right? That possibility exists, but again, it comes down to observation. I don't want to really beat a dead horse. I don't want to get into this topic so much. But if you're not sure, if you're like, John, well, I think you're fucking full of bullshit, and you're like a kind of a male chauvinist, sort of old school macho thinking. Okay, I get that. I can see how you have that viewpoint, right? That's at surface level, it seems like that. But observe the world. Okay, now. Even if you said, oh, it's a societal construct. Well, you know what? Society is as much as humanity as anything. It's as much of the evolution of an organism. Society evolves as well, okay? And so whether you think that the future, I mean, who are you to chart the future evolution of society? Who are you to say that society should evolve in the way where we're all gender neutral? That's bullshit. Who are you to decide that? It's not there. Not now. Go look. Go step outside your fucking door and look and see how women act, see how men act, see what kind of advertisements. This is a good place to look, is what kind of advertisements are made for women, what kind of advertisements are made for men, and what appeals to them in general, okay? What are they looking at? What are they interested in? What turns them on? What are the characteristics? And you will see a clear distinction between masculine and feminine, right? You will see that. It's observable in the world. So you can deny it, right? You can say, oh, I want the world to be this way, and this is what my high moral belief is, which is so much better than everyone else, and everyone who doesn't share this high moral belief is such a racist, bigot, asshole, whatever, you know, igot that you want to, ism you want to apply to them. Or you can say, you know what? I may think that this is the ideal, I mean, just like I think it's ideal. I think that we shouldn't have to pay taxes. Honestly, I really think that we shouldn't have to pay taxes. That aside from property tax or sales tax, that we shouldn't pay personal income tax. Okay, and I believe that pretty damn strongly. As Uncle Sam takes a huge chunk of my earnings. Okay, that he doesn't have any entitlement to. All right, I totally believe that. But guess what I fucking do? I fucking pay my taxes, and I hire an accountant, and I hire a bookkeeper, and I keep that shit straight, and I toe it to the letter of the law there to make sure I'm in line. You know why? Because if I operate in my own reality in regards to taxes, if I just say, well, this is my belief, and this is how I want to live morally, and this is how it should be, and I shouldn't pay taxes, I'm gonna go to fucking jail, right? my reality is gonna clash with the real reality. So we have to be practical. We have to be pragmatic. Again, a lot of the advice that I give you on this channel is about how to be practical and pragmatic. It's not necessarily, quote, the right or the best, but you got to look around and see how is society, how is the world operating, and how can you operate and thrive based on the rules of the game that you didn't create in order to get the result that you want. If you want the result that you want, right? You have to play by the rules of the game. Now, I'm not saying you can't break the rules sometimes. Yes, you can. But if you're generally not playing within the construct, if you're trying to make up your own rules, if you're not looking at the game board, if you're not looking at reality, what's going to happen? You're not going to get the goal. And so a lot of you that are denying reality, okay? And I use these two topics because I think these ones hit home. But again, you can use your imagination. You can apply this to a lot of things. We could go into a lot of debates, a lot of the kind of videos where there's been a lot of dissension and conflict and issues. And I could just say, observe reality, right? We could apply that. But if you're not getting the results that you want, and I know that you're not, I know that a lot of you, that I know, trust me. I mean, I look at some of the things that are written, and I'm like, there's no way this guy is getting what he wants out of life. You're not. So if you're not getting those results, you got to start to wonder, is the rules that you're living, right? Is the game that you're playing, that you think you're playing well, is it that the game is unfair? Is it that you're just getting cheated out of life? Or is it that you're not playing by the right rules that will get you the result that you want, right? And so that's what I would say here is, again, it's not to, knock your viewpoint. That's great. I mean, I think some of the reasons that you have for believing what you do, they're based on a good place. I mean, most people want to believe things or do things based on what they think is best, what they think is honorable, what they think is true, what they think is the higher virtue. But when those things clash with reality, and you want to be effective and you want to get results, you got to re-examine some of those beliefs. You got to re-examine some of those things and say, my observations don't match up with this. So in summary, I would just say this. Look, if there's things that you can observe, okay, observe them. Look around. A lot of the content that I get that I produce in these videos comes from me sitting and just observing people, observing the way that things work, thinking about those interactions and how things work, and figuring it out. A lot of philosophers before me did that, right? They looked at the world and they said, that's quite interesting. This pattern seems to happen. This seems to contradict what I want the world to be. A lot of Stoic philosophers said, wow, this is interesting. How can I operate in the way that the world is actually working? So do that a little bit. Sit there and observe. See how things are coming together. See, if you've got something that you try something on yourself, try it out. You don't believe that a certain kind of diet or whatever, try it out. Sure, try to work out. Try the things out, right? Interactions with people, try it out. And I think you'll find the higher truth. Again, I will always be revising what I'm saying because I will always be growing and observing. But a lot of what I say, right, majority of what I say on this channel, I'll tell you, it comes from the actual observations when it's possible to observe things and see how they're actually playing out in reality. Right? Pragmatic, practical. We've got one life, folks, right? You can't have these super high ideals and hope to change the entire world to conform to, unless you're if you lead a rebellion, you lead a movement, go for it. That's fine. That's cool. But just you in your personal life, trying to make the most of it, trying to achieve your goals, trying to win in life and get what you want out of life and enjoy your lifetime that you've only got one of, better play by the fucking rules. Better observe and see what they are. All right, that's all I gotta say about that. I don't want to keep on beating the fucking dead horse, but there you go. All right, if you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, all you gotta do is click that subscribe button below. And what I was gonna say, oh, if you want a t-shirt like mine, click me. All right, talk to you next time. Take care.